Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's November 14th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and this is going to wrap it up for the week. No chart lessons on Friday, so today we'll wrap it up. Seemed like we just had Monday, so it's hard to believe it's already another week gone by. But anyway, it was mostly sideways today. We actually pushed a little lower here a couple of times, but both times we failed and came right back into the um, trading range. And you can see we closed almost unchanged. We actually closed up a hair. Here's where we closed yesterday, and we closed here today. So what did we close up? A couple of points there, point and a half, something like that. So not much change today. Really, it was just a sideways day. Um, Several trades to choose from here, though. Let me back out just a little more. We'll talk about the trades, and we'll wrap up our week. But you can see that it was definitely a trading range. Here's your overnight lows. Here's your overnight highs, and we're definitely trading in that until we broke through here about 10:30 or so, maybe a little after 10:30. But when I came in, we were still working down. 7 o'clock came right in here, and you already had one leg down, and you would assume prices would try to make another leg down. But notice you had a close outside and two legs down. The only reason I marked this one is because it is a failed second entry long. Notice you're moving down first entry and then second entry. It fails, and it was a failure when it broke below this little inside bar. So you could have gone short right there. Your stop still has to go above here, but that's when it became a failure. And with all that room all the way down here to the overnight lows, you may risk that trade. It's a little aggressive because there is some support right across there, but this is the likely support we're trying to test on down here. So you may risk it. And then of course we get a double test. Notice we made that low. We test it once, we test it twice, and we get a nice bullish bar. I like that one. Generally, you're better off to wait on the lower or higher low, in this case, off the lows, and that came here. So that was the better place to enter. When you bounce that many times, you're probably going higher. Nice move up, and then you get a second entry long right here. Notice that new high. You pull back first entry, pull back second entry long, confirms that trend line. Nice bullish signal bar. That's what you want. You might have considered here too, but there's a little bit of resistance across there, and it is bouncing off that key entry point though. With those 3-bar matching highs right into a little double top, I'd probably skip that one. So I didn't mark it. Then we run up here, and we were trying so hard to fill that gap, and we just couldn't do it yet. Prices sold off, and notice there's a nice reversal here. This is really the first break here, so you might have been thinking long, but when you get, notice there's a double top right there. So first entry, and there's a second entry, and notice how you push through the EMA, you pull back, big bearish bar. I like going short there. There's actually a second entry short when it broke below here, but this is really your signal bar. But when it comes back and gives that double test, notice you made the high, you test it once, you test it twice. Look how bearish that bar is. Just go short right there. Boom. And you could actually go short one tick below that bar if you wanted. And off it goes. You might let it break below this one and drop a limit order. You probably would have missed that trade though, because it dropped down quickly. And of course it bounces, and you don't really get a good chance to go long here. There is a little bit of a reversal pattern here, but I don't think I would go long right there, right into those highs. Runs up, and instead you get a second entry short here. And if you'd had a little better signal bar, I might have even marked that one red. It's real close. I still like that one being that far away from the EMA. Notice that we have rarely gotten away from the EMA very long today. So we're probably going to snap back even if we're going higher. And instead the whole bottom just falls out of this thing, and you don't really get another chance to enter until down here, and you just can't go long at the end of a big move like that. Even though it worked, most times it'll fail and reverse on you. So I'd be looking to get long here. We just kept going lower here, so even though you got a little bit of overshoot, but it's kind of hard to tell there. This thing just keeps going lower, so I'd be afraid to try to pick the bottom. I'd wait on a higher low, which came here, and look how much room you still get back to the EMA. Excuse me, I get to talking, my throat still bothering me some. You do get a reversal pattern here, but it's right into the EMA. You might get a retest of this low. That's a pretty bearish move down, although most breakouts are going to fail. But when it pushed up again and came back and gives you a nice little small bullish bar, still a little bit from testing that breakout area. We're probably going there at a minimum, so I like that one. If you had more room here, I might even say this one, but you got 3-bar matching high, and you're right into the support resistance. It could run up there and touch that and turn back down. So I don't think you can risk that one. You get another chance right here, but you've just been moving too far. You just, I just don't like that one. I'd want a second entry or a trap or something, or at least back to the EMA. You do get a second entry here, and that's the first break. But I'd want a higher low, which we get one right here, but notice it never breaks above it. That's also an awfully big bar, and it just turns back down. In fact, when it turns down there, I definitely like going short. This one you probably could argue to be green, and it would have worked. But this was the best entry of all. When it came back, notice that high, first entry, second entry, and so really it was a failed second entry short there. But now you got a first entry, second entry, you got a true second entry short on a fail, and you can still look at that as a failure because that's still all on your second entry long, and it hasn't, and it didn't go very far, especially when it didn't break above there. That was a nice trade. And that's just a trap. That'd be the main reason you'd want to take that. It's a second entry short, but it's still, you know, everything's looking up and everything's above the EMA. So when it turned down there, that's definitely a big trap right there. And of course it bounces, so you want to be looking to get long. I did mark this one because notice that you get a first entry and you get a second entry, and it's still below the EMA. In this case, you did push through a little bit and close through, but the main thing is when you pulled back, you tested the previous support and it held again with a bullish bar. That's why I like that one. If it wasn't for the support right there, this would look similar to this. It looked very similar to this one. This one still looks a little better. It's not quite the same, but the fact that that support line held right there and we closed above it, you can see where we opened right above it and it held. I like that one, and that gives you a nice run up into the 2 o'clock hour. And a couple of things I didn't talk about. This first 2 moves down, I would measure them. And when we started lower again here, notice there's a little 2-legged correction there. Although there's a 2-legged correction here, we never went lower. But when we finally, you know, each time we started lower, once we went lower, I would look for a measured move, and notice how we got one there. You could have measured this from here too. It went a little further than that, but the fact that we got another little correction here, I'd look for another one. And I would also measure this leg. That would be my first target. And this is usually going to be the more accurate one, but it wasn't today. That would be my first target, and so I would look for prices to probably at least test the lows again, which it did, but it continued lower. And then once you went up here, you made one leg, and then once you started your next leg up, that would have been my target. Notice you got a perfect measured move before it backed up, but it continued on higher. So always look for those measured moves to kind of give you an idea where to look for something to happen. And this is actually a spike in channel. You went into a channel this afternoon. It's probably easier to draw that off the highs. Like so, and then drag it down, and you can see there's a little spike in channel right there. And that's how I usually do that. And you can see that's holding prices nicely till you get a break and then move to a new high. So some pretty good trades here today, and what looked like was going to be a tight range gave you a couple of decent moves here. Usually you only look for those on days like this, I'll usually only look for runners on these failed breakouts if I can catch them. But not a bad trading day. It wasn't the best day, but definitely wasn't a bad day. We're still right around this 3,100. We closed just below that. Actually, we're trading back up there at that now. So that's the way the prices tend to do around those century marks. They tend to test it from both sides a few times before it decides to either continue higher or reverse for a little bit and correct a little bit. So it's not unusual to see this happen around those century marks. So anyway, I hope you had a good week. Hope you had a good trading day today. But I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it Monday. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.